is it?
Alien Covenant sees the return of director Ridley Scott to the aforementioned Alien franchise and stars Catherine Waterston, Michael Fassbender, and Danny McBride. The story of Alien Covenant is about the Covenant, and on a routine maintenance mission on their own ship, they get a rogue signal from a mysterious source singing a John Denver song called Take Me Home Country Roads. And so they decide to go check the signal out. How many times have you seen that in an Alien film? And from there, you get a bunch of people being stupid, and yeah, this film's kind of a disappointment in the long run. I'm not gonna lie, when I first heard of an Alien sequel to Prometheus, I was a bit skeptical because, on the one hand, I like Prometheus and its ideas it presented. It's just that with Prometheus, it left way too many questions left unanswered, and it kind of felt like they were going to answer some in the sequel. But at the same time, I was excited because it's an Alien film, and it's being done by Ridley Scott, the original director of the first Alien film, one of my favorite films of all time. And when I got to the theater, I was pumped. I had my ticket pre-ordered. I wanted to see it. I got a combo pack. I got like popcorn and a soda. I'm sitting like in the middle. I'm sitting in the middle of the row, towards the very middle of the theater, to enjoy the visual spectacle of this film. And when I left the theater, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. But after thinking about it for a whole night and really kind of working it through in my head, there's a lot of problems with this film that that's going to leave some people really pissed off. You can already see it on the internet. There are tons of videos out there that have said why this film sucks. And after comparing my notes with some of my other friends on YouTube, I've kind of come to my decision on this one, and I felt like this one was just a bit disappointing. The fact that this marketing was pushed towards the alien aspect kind of is a lie. You don't really get an alien thing until the third act of the film, which is kind of disappointing, but it does have this nice little build-up to it. But let me start out with the things I really liked about this film. Visually, it's stunning. It's beautiful. The shots, the framing, the coloring, the keying, everything about this film in terms of lighting and everything from a technical standpoint of like the cinematography, flat out gorgeous. I loved it. However, when it comes to the characters, there's some really stupid characters, and it almost turns into like this sort of slasher film at the end of the film, and it felt almost unneeded. It felt like a completely different movie at the end, and it just doesn't follow through. There's some questions that were unanswered in Prometheus that you definitely won't get answered in this film. One particular question that is not necessarily a spoiler, but it's one question that we had from the end of Prometheus is, who created humanity, and why did the creators create humanity? You don't get to know that answer. The only person that really knows that answer is David in this film, and even he can't really tell us. It's just kind of odd. Another thing that I liked in this film is the acting by a couple of the characters, particularly Danny McBride and Michael Fassbender. Michael Fassbender has to play two different characters, two different androids, and it's actually kind of interesting to play two different androids, and I found that pretty interesting. Although his David character is much more of a menace because of what he does on this planet that they go to. And I can't really go into detail about that because that is spoilers, and that is something that's pretty cool in my opinion. Another thing that I kind of liked in this film was David's sort of evil, mischievous plan with all of his stuff. I think, as we know by now, robots are the worst thing to have on a ship in the Alien universe, and so it almost kind of feels like a retread with David, but it's also kind of a cool thing. I liked how the alien creature finally gets made, which is something that's unique. Let's see, what else did I like? I liked the xenomorph. The xenomorph looked pretty cool, even though it wasn't fully practical effects like in the original. There is some new alien creatures as well. The neomorph, I believe they call it, is kind of cool, pale, white. Kind of looks like the rake in a way, the sort of the oh god, creepypasta, like the creepypasta for the rake. It kind of looks like that. Now we come down to the major problems of this film. The major problem with this film is with tone and pace. You can tell that there is a different tone between the first two acts and the third act. The third act takes the entire movie and flips it into a different mode altogether, and it just felt jarring. And the last sort of 15 minutes kind of feel tacked on, as if for a bit of fan service, and it just doesn't fully pay off. Now, as I said before, the acting for some of these characters is pretty good. However, the characters are not so good. When it comes to the characters, I didn't really feel much of a connection with these characters. The only character that kind of made me feel something was Danny McBride's character, as he loses his wife in the film, which is a slight spoiler, just saying. I mean, granted, it's an alien movie, people are gonna die, but Danny McBride's wife in this film dies, and you kind of see his emotion in this one. But again, the characters are so dumb. Some of the stuff that happens to these characters is just pure slapstick. It's just nonsense. You know, we come to an alien film to experience an alien film. You know, something that is built with suspense and tension. And while there is times where you get that, it doesn't fully feel like that. It's just kind of odd. You know, this whole film is just kind of odd. How, you know, there's so much attention to the alien stuff and the story stuff that they rarely focus on the characters. And you don't get a lot of character arcs. And surprisingly enough, James Franco is in this film, but only for 2 seconds. Only 2 seconds. What a waste. What a waste of talent you have for this guy. Even he left the project early in this project, and you decide to kill him off. It's just, yeah, and these characters are so stupid, and at the end of this, in the third act, it just turns into a slasher film that isn't what Alien is supposed to be. I think Chris Stuckman said in his AVP review, or no, not AVP, AVP Requiem review, that that he thinks that the studio was trying to make Alien into a slasher genre film. And that's not what Alien is. Alien is supposed to be a monster film, definitely, but it's supposed to have tension. It's supposed to have claustrophobia. It's supposed to, you know, really grip you. But this film doesn't for me. This film didn't fully grasp me in the way. Sure, the gore effects are cool, and it's cool to see some of the aliens back from the grave, but if you don't have the tension, and if you don't have the scare factor that comes with it, that's just, it doesn't work for me. So, like, initially, as I said before, I left the theater really, really enjoying this film. I thought it was pretty cool. I felt the gore effects were pretty cool. I felt like some of the birthing was pretty cool. There's some really interesting ways an alien was born. It was pretty cool, but in the end, I just felt very disappointed with Alien Covenant. It's not my fault. It's just kind of the film's fault for not making me care enough for these characters. Like, it's just sad to me how Ridley Scott, one of the world's most acclaimed directors, didn't take the time to work with the screenwriters to make the characters much more interesting. A lot of them are very disposable, and you only care about a couple of them. And that's just kind of sad, where in the original one, you kind of cared for most of the characters. So in the end, Alien Covenant is a very disappointing film. I wish it was better. I wanted it to be better. I actually wanted Alien Covenant to be the return of an Alien franchise, but in the end, it just leaves a little bit more questions than it does answers. And the one major factor that in this film that is sorely lacking is the scare factor. At no time was I truly scared. The only thing that was really scary is the twist ending at the end. That was kind of scary. But the rest of it just negates that twist ending, because there's almost nothing. There's no tension. There's nothing too scary about it. We've seen it all before, and it's just kind of disappointing. I'm going to give Alien Covenant a C. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing, but I wish it was better. But yeah, what do you guys think of Alien Covenant? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you kind of meh, like I was? So, yeah. Until next time, next week, we review Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man Tell No Tales. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.